Hey, what's going on, guys? Ben Brewster here with triathletics.com. Today I want to talk about a manual resisted exercise that's become one of my favorites. So if you're not familiar with manual resisted exercises, essentially we can take advantage of the full strength curve of a movement. So in this case, we're going to show a split stance Y raise. I'm just going to have Garrison do it without any sort of manual resistance. And so what you'll see about the movement is, again, this is a fine exercise by itself. It's a lower trap dominant movement. We're trying to control the eccentric and watch the scap how it moves into posterior tilt. We're controlling that from the low trap primarily. So the scap is riding along the rib cage just like you would in the follow through of movement, and you're seeing the scap tilt anteriorly and then posteriorly as he goes through the movement. So there's nothing wrong with that exercise, but we can get a little bit more out of that exercise if we know about manual resistance, and we know about strength curves, and we know a little bit about the eccentric component of any muscle, any movement. So the good thing about manual resistance is that you can match the strength curve. So in this case, Garrison is stronger on the eccentric portion, the negative phase of the movement. So he might be able to do 15 pounds on the concentric, but he could technically lower more weight than 15 pounds. So he's relatively weak in the concentric, positive phase of the movement, but he's really going to be able to lower a lot more than he can raise through the positive phase. So if I take him manually through the negative phase of the movement and he resists me, go ahead and give him less on the way up, he's going to be getting more out of that full range of the movement, because as opposed to the negative being super easy, not getting much out of it, and the positive being challenging, now the positive is challenging and the negative is challenging. So the entire curve of the movement, the entire strength curve as we refer to it, he's getting maximal activation through that entire range. So this is an example of overloaded eccentrics, and it's just one way in which you can do that. You can have prone Y raises, where you come and you add manual resistance. He could be just standing without a cable machine at all in a split stance, and you could be coming up behind him and giving him manual resistance along the entire curve. Go ahead. I don't like this nearly as much because it puts a lot more on the spotter to have to apply both the concentric and the eccentric. Here we at least have kind of the baseline resistance for the movement, and we can just add that extra 10 or 15 pounds to the eccentric. So it makes it a lot easier on the spotter, the person that's actually adding the overloaded eccentric, than having to do all 15, 20 pounds on the concentric and 30, 35 pounds on the eccentric. So I'd rather get the baseline of the movement with a little bit of weight, something that's good on the concentric, and just add a little bit more on the eccentric. So this is especially relevant for pitchers because, as we know, there's a high eccentric demand. As you get into ball release and release, your scap is basically being thrown off your body, and so all the muscles on the posterior side of your shoulder have to be able to contract and fire eccentrically. They're lengthening in this very short amount of time. They have to be able to contract and fire to decelerate your arm properly. So exercises like this, we're not only getting a lot out of the concentric, but the way in which these muscles work in the delivery is primarily on this negative phase of the movement. So we're actually maximizing both aspects of the movement, and I'm just going to show you one more time as a spotter what I'm paying attention to as we go through this. So I want to make sure as he's doing the move in the first place, he's getting that range from the scap. He's not torquing through his T-spine. He's not using momentum to get there. A little bit of rhythm is okay from the front side, a little bit of rhythm as he gets into that movement, but we're primarily driving that from the scap, from the low trap muscles. So I'm making sure as the spotter, he's getting all the way to his end range. He's not just stopping right here. He's smoothly getting to his end range, which might be further than a lot of you would think. And then as I bring him down, I'm going to give him more eccentric, and he should be able to resist me. So he's not just letting me pull him down. He's trying to stop me, and I'm making sure he gets a smooth lowering phase to the movement, bringing him all the way down until that scap releases into protraction. He gets a little bit of a reach, let it get all the way back up, smoothly pull him down. He resists me, back up. Good. So that's one of my new favorite exercises. You can add eccentric component to a lot of different arm care exercises. You can add it to a lot of different lifting exercises. But again, for pitching specific arm care, this is one of my new favorites. Guys, give it a try. Let me know what you think in the comments.